Hey everyone, it's Elise. I am here today to do the Trash Monster Puppet Workshop with you, and here is an example of the kind of thing we will be creating. So it's kind of like a moving mouth puppet, hand puppet, and I made it out of 2 granola bar boxes and then just some trash I had laying around. So these are really cool because I think you can actually get a really cool character out of them, depending on what you do. And I like how with this puppet, it's kind of up to you how much time you want to spend on it, right? You could create a cool puppet in like a half an hour, but you could also spend, I don't know, a little bit more time doing it up and everything. So I'm going to show you the basics today, and I hope you follow along with me. So yeah, let me talk about materials. Where should I put this guy? You're going to need bunch of different things today. Kind of depends on what you want to do. So I'm starting off with 2 granola bar boxes. You can use any kind of box, but I just find that these are good because they're, they're a good size for this. You can stick your hands in them pretty easily. So you're gonna need 2 of those. You're gonna need some sort of like hot glue gun, tape, whatever you like better. You're gonna need some newspaper. I have some newspaper down here ready. And then honestly, what you need next is pretty much up to you, because again, I don't know what kind of trash you have laying around your house, but today I'm going to be using these 2 cups that I found just laying around. I'm going to be using some plastic bags, and then I'm just going to be using I don't know, pretty much anything else I can find around the desk. I found this, which I think, I don't know, can be turned into something like horns maybe. The point of this workshop is really to just kind of get you thinking creatively about the different materials you have lying around. So as long as you have the base, you can pretty much use whatever else you have to make a puppet. Super cool. So let's get started. So we need our cereal, or not cereal, boxes, granola bar boxes. Where did I put my scissors? You're gonna need to get out a pair of scissors. There they are. I cleaned my desk up yesterday, and now suddenly I can't find anything. So what you're gonna do is, these tabs are kind of annoying, they get in the way. You just cut them right off. So that's how you prep your boxes. And try to keep them intact. It's okay if they rip a little bit like this one just did, but we're gonna be using this bit for the thing that secures our hand to the plate, or to the box. So try to save it, don't ruin them too much. Well, both of these are ripped on mine, but that's okay, we'll figure it out. Cutting off all those little ends. Alright, so we have this. No more annoying little tabs. I'll do that. Same with this one. Yeah, these are both intact pretty well. So I'm going to save these tabs. Come on, get out. There we go. Alright, so I have one here. We're going to use that. I'm going to tilt it down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Something I forgot to say is you should probably be using clean trash. Obviously don't be using like wrappers that are like gross and wet with some kind of rotting food. I think there's a lot of things we throw out that are really clean and can totally be recycled. So I am not encouraging you to make puppets out of rotting trash. That would not be very fun. Alright, so now I have my 2 prepped boxes. And now, if you're following along with me, you can kind of decide how you want the boxes to lay. Because as you can see, they're kind of 2 different sizes. One is a little bit longer than the other. This one's a little bit wider. So I'm just going to kind of like lay them around, decide where I like it. This would mean like the jaw is a little bit wider underneath. If you have an X-Acto knife too, and you think that like this box is too long or something, you can always trim it. Really just do whatever feels right to you. I could do this on top where this bottom lip is protruding a little bit. I think that's kind of funny. I'm gonna go with that. Alright, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm kind of taking this idea from, I've built like Muppet style puppets before, and what you need to do is you need to figure out something to secure your hand to the top and bottom of these mouth plates. So that's what we're gonna do with these little tabs. So get out your little thingies that you saved. And if yours were like too ripped and damaged or something, you can actually use newspaper too. You're just gonna have to fold it up a few times to make sure it's nice and thick. So I'm gonna trim down. This one's kind of, I'm gonna use this one. I'm just gonna take this and cut it in half, just so I can have two pieces to use. All right, so we have this, and this is gonna kind of like cover our hand, leave some room there, and the tabs are gonna go connect to the box on the bottom. So we're gonna do that. So this is when you need your hot glue or tape ready, whichever one you are using. So kind of to figure out like where you want to put this, put your hands in there and just figure out what kind of feels comfortable to you. You don't want to put your hands like all the way up so that the edge of the box is touching your palm, because then you're really not going to get that much movement. You want like enough space between here to have like, you know, some movement going on. So I'm going to say my hands are probably going to stick about that far in. That's where I want it to go. So you can kind of place your hand there and just like mark it with your eyeball. And then you're gonna take your hot glue. I'm just gonna go for it. There's no really precise science to this at all. I'm placing it. I placed this edge right here. I'm gonna let that cool down. Need that to solidify before I can move on. So you can kind of see that I'm creating like a little like, what's the word? Hook for it. All right, now that I think that's pretty good, so now you just take your hand and try to feel it out. Make sure, a lot of times I accidentally actually make them too tight, and then I'm like, oh no, I thought it would be too loose. So make sure you're not, you know, doing it too tight. Your fingers need more room than you might think. So then make sure you get that going. So I'm kind of eyeballing it. You can also mark it if you want, if you're not good at eyeballing things. I know sometimes I tend to not be. And I'm just gonna take some hot glue, place it where I wanted it. And I'm gonna pinch it. Just wait for that to dry. You can always go back in and reinforce it with some tape or something. Kind of up to you. If it feels secure enough after the glue dries and you think it's fine, that's good. It's up to you. And then also, I should have said, while you're waiting for the glue to dry, you might just want to place your fingers in there just to make sure you didn't accidentally make it too tight or something. So while it's still like, you know, malleable, you can mess with it. All right, so now we got the top done. See, and it's already, look at, it's already a puppet. Just a box. I like this workshop. All right, so now we're gonna do it to this bottom. And it's pretty much the same thing for this method too. Obviously, because your thumb is one finger as compared to four, you're not gonna need as much of like a gap. So you can also shorten this if you want, but I'm just gonna leave it the same length. Oh wait, it might actually be, it's actually a little bit too long for this box, so I'm gonna trim it. So trim it however you want, but you might want to leave like just a little bit more than what you think you're gonna need, because, you know, once you cut too much off, you can't really go back after that point. So I'm just gonna place my, oh, it's on the top, yeah. I'm just making sure that it will work where I want to put it. Again, I'm just going for it. I'm placing that down again, the same thing I just did the last round. You can kind of see that. Your hands will kind of naturally fall into like the placement as long as they're being held there, so you kind of don't have to worry too much about like this being like super centered or something. Just try to get it to the best of your ability. There's like granola bar oils on this. It's kind of nasty. I'm not using clean trash. That's not good. All right. All right, I'm just making sure. My thumb is like taller because it's thicker than all your other fingers, so you're also going to want a little bit more space than you think you will need for that. All right, so Got that down. Oops. Ah, get out of my way. There we go. And I'm placing my thumb in there just to make sure it'll get a nice tight grip, and then just pinching it down until we're good. Just waiting. All right, I think I'm good. Yeah, this is a nice, good grip. So now, I've got the very basis of our talking puppet. Now we can do this, right? I like that noise it makes. Maybe you have to go a little softer. So now you'll notice that, where did I put my trash bucket? Oh, it's on the ground. You can actually add like a layer to kind of block your hand too. This is also really useful for keeping it straight. So like, you know, I can't really like bend too much with that. Or I mean, I can bend, but it keeps it pretty steady. So we're gonna wanna add that too. So get out your newspaper now. Gotta go grab that. You don't need a lot. I'm just gonna take out one sheet. That newspaper will come in handy later for decorating, so hold on to it. Again, you really don't need that much. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna fold it. You can also totally use any other material that, I don't know, that you like. That could be like a thin cardboard could also work, although you might not get as much movement. You could use, I don't know, scrap material or scrap fabric if you have it. That's actually probably what I would recommend, but I know not everyone has a lot of scrap fabric laying around, so I'm gonna make it out of this. I'm just gonna trim this really fast. You want it pretty thin because the thicker it gets, the less movement it'll have, and the more it'll like kind of crinkle and hold up on you. So you're gonna want to just like, I think this is like 4 pages thick, so not super thick at all. And I'm just going to cut it. So cut it in half, roughly like, I would say like 5 or 6 inches. I'm making it like this big, so then you can always trim less later. So now what you're gonna see I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, so you probably, if you didn't do this, that's okay. You can always like tape it or put it on the bottom, but I have like a little bit of space here, and that's where I'm gonna glue down the tip of this newspaper. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna place some glue there. Oops. Why are you not working, hot glue gun? There we go. All right. And I'm just placing that down. You can't really see what I'm doing. See? Something you could have done, I forgot to do this in my last puppet too. You can always like tape down the edges because they can get kind of, I don't know, like annoying when they're coming up. So I may do that really fast, wherever my good masking tape is. Again, the cool thing about this puppet too is that the jankier it looks, it kind of like plays into the aesthetic, right? Because you are just making this out of trash. So if it doesn't look like super professional or polished or anything, I kind of think that's okay. That's like the point of this puppet. It's really just supposed to be like having fun. So I'm just taking some tape and also reinforcing that down. So as you can see, I have this. I'm gonna do the same thing here. There we go, if I can get it right. Now I'm thinking that this almost looks like it's too much space because like, my hand can't cover it. So I'm gonna trim it a little bit more. I'm probably taking off like 2 inches here. I think that's gonna suffice. So I kind of want to condition the paper to like fold that way too. This is why scrap fabric might have been way better for this, just because you know, you don't need to train it to like fall a certain way. And now I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to place some hot glue in the little that little ledge. Place that there. And I'm just gonna conjoin the two. There we go. Just gonna let that sit for a second. I'm also gonna do the same thing where I'm reinforcing the sides. When I say this, all I'm doing is just like taping down the little like flappy things of the newspaper that want to come up. See, like, you can kind of see like the inside, the top is coming up. It's hard to do this on video. There we go. One down. And two. All right. And now for the moment of truth. Oh, that didn't glue quite all the way. Lay down. There we go. You're gonna put it on, and there you go. Now you have pretty much like a fully actualized puppet head. And now it's the time for the fun part. We get to decorate it. And again, this is kind of the part where I encourage you to like freestyle. You can do what I'm doing, but I always think it's really cool when you guys come up with your own way to do things. So you should have this, and this is like a good starting base for a cool puppet. I like it because you can get like cool movement out of it. Like you can just like talk, but like you can almost like think, like you get the illusion of like a head tilt or something depending on where you position your fingers. It's cool. So anyways, for this last puppet, I'll show you kind of what I did, maybe give you some inspiration ideas, I don't know. I used bottle caps for the eyes, and I drew on them with permanent marker. I'm kind of not loving how they create like a sheen though, so that's why I decided not to do that again. I used some spare cardboard made from the little tabs to give a tooth. The other tooth fell off and I was really sad, but I think that it's even funnier with just one tooth, so it's good. I used some plastic to give a beard and just some hair. And then I used some newspaper that was taped together with masking tape to create some horns. So that's what we did on that. And for this, I was looking at my cups and I was like, you know what I can do? These kind of look like eyes if I cut them off. So that's what I'm gonna start with. I'm starting with the eyes, which isn't usually typical when you build puppets. You usually do the eyes last so you can like make sure they're focused well and everything. Now, if I can find my X-Acto blade, I think it's like right behind this. Yes, it is. Of course it is. Let me grab that. There we go. So you can use whatever tools you really need. I always find X-Acto blades are like the most useful tool I have in my collection. That or my hot glue gun. Please be very careful if you're using an X-Acto blade. There we go. You should always cut away from you and make sure your fingers are out of the way. Just some safety tips. There we go. So I have one kind of like eye shape, right? That could like sit on the edge or something. They almost look like goggles. I don't know. And this can be used too. I don't know. Like it could be like funky horns or something. It looks like a little hat. That's cute. Just kind of experiment. Have fun with your materials. Oops. Just cutting this off really fast. All right, now we have two of our little eyes. All right, I'm gonna trim that a little bit more. I am leaving a little bit of a tab on there because, you know, you can put the hot glue on the thick part and stick it on and it'll have a good hold. So now's the time to get out whatever materials you want to decorate with. I have my, again, it's hidden back here behind my computer. Where'd it go? Oh no, just kidding, it's over here. Again, I rearranged my desk. I'm not used to everything being where it is. Getting out my Sharpies. And now's a great time, especially with the eyes, to kind of think about what character you want to do. So let's see. I kind of feel like some like funky, like swirly eyes would be cool. So I'm gonna try to do that, see if it works out. So I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of go for it. Using the color blue simply because that's just the first one that I picked up. That's my first eyeball. I don't know, I can always go back in and add a little bit more. It is like, I almost feel like it's like a hypnotizing puppet or something. Like, if it had a special power, that's what it would be. I'm gonna go back in and add outline. I don't know. These are the spooky eyes I've gotten. Again, they still kind of look like goggles. I want to add some more colors even. Because this is already a very colorful puppet unless you're painting over it for some reason. Because, you know, boxes tend to be very bright for advertising and marketing reasons. So I encourage you to work with your colors. Make it look really funky and cool. I don't know. I added some more spirals. I think I'm gonna actually color the pupil black because that's like recognizable as a pupil. I want to make them even like a little bit unfocused. All right, here are my eyes. I think I'm happy with those now. All right. Now I can always go back in and maybe like add even more. Remember how I said they almost look like goggles? I could always add like a strip here or something and give that appearance. I don't know. It's up to you. So now it's time to place the eyes. So this is what I've determined to be the top of the head. Now you can place them kind of wherever you want. You could do it from the back. That almost gives the illusion of it being like animal-like or something. Like this kind of looks like a crocodile to me almost. Ooh, there's my character. Okay. So I'm gonna do that. I'm thinking that, which angle do I want the eyes to be at? If they're just looking at each other. No, okay. I'm using the camera to kind of gauge this. I almost like it, I like it outwards a little bit. Do you guys agree? I think that's the coolest. It almost looks like reptile-like or something. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. I put the eyes in the front before. So now I'm experimenting and doing them from the back. I got my hot glue and I'm just going for it, honestly. I'm sticking it on. Light bulb, exactly. Thank you, somebody commented that. I do that all the time in my work. I just tend to be like, I don't know, I'm just talking and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's my idea. It's really fun. All right, I think I like the angle of that eye. I'm lucky to have this camera here so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna put same eye on. Or the other eye on, I mean, not the same eye. This kind of looks funky, right? I think it's cute. So yeah, now we have our eyes on, and we can kind of start decorating with other things too. Crocodiles, of course, have long teeth, right? So I think that needs to be my next move. I'm gonna get out my spare cardboard again. I have this. I wonder if I can do anything with this. I bet I could do some gnarly curved teeth, actually. I'm gonna try that. So I'm gonna just separate this. Slitting it right up the middle so I can get those. Yeah, because like I want to have almost like the teeth look like claws in a weird way, angling inward. So I'm just gonna go for it. A cool way to make teeth, and this is like a good way to avoid wasting material too. I'll show you as soon as I cut it out. Just cut it in like a zigzag. So watch this. Cut one here, cut one here, and then just keep cutting because it forms a zigzag and you can get good teeth. The more you know. Alright. Ooh, yeah, this has like a good curved, like very creepy consistency. So that's what we're gonna work with. Get stuff out of the way. Alright, and now for the teeth, I'm just gonna, the good thing about this is that the top box is slightly wider, so I don't run the risk of, I mean, I do run the risk of it, but if I put them on the very outside, I have less of a risk of like, you know, knocking off a tooth because it hits the bottom jaw too hard. So I'm gonna place them on the very tip of this box. And I'm just going for it. The good thing about the curvedness too is that the top of it can like touch the, you just get more glue on it is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if there's really a scientific word for it. Ooh, it's creepy. Look, let me show you what's happening. The tooth like comes out to the side. It's like these like gnarly set of freaky teeth. I kind of like it. Gotta do one to the other side because we gotta have fair treatment. This glue gun is hot. It's like steaming before my eyes. I don't think you can see that. No, you can't. I'm creepy. There we go. It's funny. It almost looks like a mustache or something, like the curved edges. I could rotate them too, so like some are sticking inwards, some are sticking out. Kind of up to me. Now I'm placing it right on the tooth and just sticking it down. There we go. I do want to incorporate like newspaper somehow into this. Does anyone have any ideas? Maybe like, I don't know. Oh no, did I just steal that? No, okay. Maybe you could have like a beard. Oh yeah, somebody just said in the comments that these kind of look like nostrils, right? They do, they do. Maybe I could do that out of newspaper. I could like sculpt a little nose bit right there. I really like teeth, so I'm going to add as many as I can. As many as time allows. And I could be adding them to the bottom. It is unfortunate because this isn't, I don't know, this isn't like the ideal puppet, but so if you added teeth to the bottom, they might start getting like mixed up with the ones from the top, but you can always try. That might even be like a funny, like character flaw, like the teeth get caught and it's like frustrating to the puppet. I don't know, it's a few. Alright, so now I have my funny teeth. I have all the hot glue strings everywhere. I almost like this one better than the one I made earlier. This is kind of funny. Alright, so now the last part, because I'm running short on my time with you guys, I want to add newspaper somehow. And I kind of like, I'm almost seeing like a beard of some sort just because, I don't know, it's like a funny crocodile. And I really like the movement that you get whenever you have things like dangling from puppets. So I'm going to just add that. Could be like a long beard. This will also decorate the bottom of the jaw. One second. No. Cooperate with me. There we go. Alright, so let's see. This is kind of what I'm envisioning. But then I'm gonna like shred it up and everything so it'll look cool. We'll see. Half the time when I build puppets, I don't even know where I'm going. I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna let the creativity hit. I'm just like layering some hot glue on there. I'm just gonna stick it on there. Lay that down. Alright, I'm gonna place some hot glue on this side too. I might come back in and trim some of this later because, oops, I didn't totally center it. I'm gonna go back in and do that on this side. I need to move some things around. My desk has gotten messy again. What a surprise. There we go. I'm just gonna let that sit on there. All right, and now's the time for the fun part. I'm literally just gonna like shred it up. You could tear it, you could cut it. I might do a little bit of both. I'm just cutting it in strips right now. Newspaper also has interesting noise because, you know, every time you move it, it kind of crinkles a little bit. So you could always play into that with your character too. I'm pretty much just going for it, but you could always do something more sophisticated with the hairstyle. I'm really just shredding it. I want this to look like it just came out of the paper shredder. That's the aesthetic I want. Ah. It's gonna fall. That's okay. Alright, let's see how this looks now. I have no idea. Alright. And there is my completed kind of alligator puppet. Well, I don't know if it's completed yet. You can always add more. But yeah, like I said, the cool part about this kind of puppet is that you can kind of just like keep adding to it until it's like this monstrous beast of all this trash put together, and then that can look really, really cool. But since I'm at over the half-hour mark, I'm probably going to stop here. If you made one of these today with me, I would absolutely love to see it. You can either post that in social media and tag us, or you can just send it to us if you don't feel like showing off your work. But yeah, I hope to see you, or I won't actually be here next week because we're taking the week off for 4th of July, but I hope to see you the week after that. Bye everyone! Have a great weekend.